Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Inshallah, we will be continuing with the Tafseer of Surah Al-Baqarah. We have completed one juz of the surah, and we started with the second juz last week, and we looked at Ayah 142, and then I asked you to have a look at Ayah 143 in detail, and to hopefully do some research into this Ayah 143. So before we do that, let's get a clear understanding of where we are in the Surah Al-Baqarah. So let's spend a bit of time on this. I'm going to go into sharing my content with you now, sharing screen with you. Okay, so if we go to the booklet, which is available on the website, as you can see there, under resources, we find here that we are currently in the first group of surahs, as you can see there. Groups 1 is from Al-Fatiha to Ma'idah, and the central theme is the Sharia, as you can see there. So we need to have an understanding of what does this group of surahs mean. The first group of surahs, which is made up of one Makki surah, Al-Fatiha, which is a very brief surah, but very, very comprehensive surah. And then 4 lengthy surahs of the Qur'an. The lengthiest surah, Surah Al-Baqarah, then Surah Al-Imran, and then Surah Al-Nisa, and then Al-Ma'idah. These 4 surahs, they make up over 5 juz, which is about a 1/6 of the Qur'an, yeah? So this Sharia, when we go down a bit further into the booklet, we find a breakdown of this group. So you have Al-Baqarah there, Al-Imran, An-Nisa, and Al-Ma'idah. Now, in response to our dua, in Al-Fatiha, which is "Oh Allah, guide us," okay, Allah Ta'ala, He gives us in Surah Al-Baqarah, He initially guides us to our Iman. Yeah, we've done this many times, but just to make sure. And then He guides us to how do we live this Iman, which is through Islam. Yeah? And He is telling us in the first half of this surah, approximately, especially the section we've just concluded, which is mentioning the Bani Israel, do not follow into the footsteps, or do not follow the footsteps of Bani Israel, because either they had the wrong Iman, or the wrong Islam, or they corrupted both. Yeah? And then right in the middle of the surah, the ayah that we want to focus on today, the address shifts from Bani Israel to the Ummah of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam now. Yeah? The previous Ummah is being disposed of. The new Ummah is now being replaced, is being set as their replacement. So now they're being addressed. So Allah, He tells us, what is your mission and vision in this surah, in this ayah 143. Okay? Your vision and mission is you have now been given this responsibility of being the leadership of humanity, and your job is to guide them to this guidance. Yeah? We asked Allah for guidance. Allah Ta'ala is telling us, your guidance lies in you following and guiding others to this guidance. Yeah? And then Allah Ta'ala tells us, you will achieve your mission and you will fulfill your vision if you stick to your Iman and your Islam, and if you spend in the way of Allah infaq. So you will spend and you will utilize and exhaust all your resources for this mission and vision, and you will confront and fight against all opposition from Shaitan, Iblis and his followers. Okay? Good. You will now find the rest of this surah. The rest of this surah from ayah 143 onwards will either talk about Iman in Allah or the hereafter, or it would tell us about Islam, the pillars, etc. Or it will talk about spending in the cause of Allah, and it will talk about defending and fighting against the enemies of Allah and His Messenger, which is Iblis. Yes, understood? 4 strands. Yes, they are repeated in this surah intermittently. Intermittently, they are repeated again and again and again and again. Yeah? We will find that Allah will mention the objective of infaq and jihad. Why infaq? Why jihad? The purpose. Then Allah, He will encourage us to do infaq and to do jihad, and He will then tell us what are the rewards of jihad and infaq. You see comprehensive guidance, isn't it? It will prepare us mentally, practically, strategically, and spiritually for these mission accomplishments of infaq and jihad. If you understand this, inshallah, then when you read this surah, everything falls into place. Simple, easy to understand. You see that? Then it's very, very unlikely that you can misunderstand an ayah if you know this context. And the context of revelation, which is called the Asbabun Nuzul. Yes, Asbabun Nuzul, the circumstances in which this revelation took place. This surah was revealed in Medina in the beginning, just when the new Muslim Ummah was being formed, the new society, community, the state, etc., was all being formed, built. I hope, inshallah, that is clear. So when we look at the diagram now, as I mentioned, this lengthy section which we finished, this was telling us about the Bani Israel, the previous Muslim Ummah, and what mistakes they made, and guiding us not to make those mistakes regarding our Iman and our Islam, our infaq, our jihad. And now Allah Ta'ala, He is addressing us that you have to now submit to this message fully. Udkhulu في السلم كافة ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان. You fully follow and submit to this message and this guidance, and don't follow in the footsteps of Shaitan, because he is your enemy. And you have to therefore be role models to mankind, to guide mankind to this guidance. This is your responsibility. So in that context, we can start to look at this section. Now, I'm not going to use this section as such because there's too much detail here, yeah, for us to focus on. But inshallah, we will start with ayah 143. And 143, ayah 143, and before that 142, the whole scenario here is the changing of the qibla, the direction of prayer. The direction of prayer initially was and always has been by default Ka'batullah. And Allah Ta'ala, He has at some point in history changed it to Baytul Maqdis, Jerusalem. But now it is being reset to the original Kaaba, the original Qibla, which is Ka'batullah. And Allah Ta'ala, He mentions the fact that the first house that Allah Ta'ala, He ordained was Makkah, as He mentioned in Surah Al-Imran 96. Inna awwala baytin wudi'a linnas lalladhi bi Bakkata mubarakan wa hudan lil alamin. And indeed, the first house that was designated for mankind was in the blessed city of Makkah, and this is the guidance for mankind. So this, we mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ, once he arrived in Medina, he would pray towards Jerusalem for how long? 16 to 17 months. Yeah? And this is the direction of the Qibla of the Yahud at that time, the Jews. But then Allah Ta'ala, He, because already in this surah, Allah has mentioned in conclusion to the address to the Bani Israel, that Ibrahim al-Islam, he was the one of those messengers who built the Kaaba. Yes, he built the Kaaba again with Ismail. So now Allah Ta'ala, He is restoring everything to normality. Yes, the deen that Allah has given, this is normality for human beings. When we don't follow the deen, we are following abnormality. And when we follow abnormality, we face the consequence of that. Yeah? So we mentioned this ayah already, that the people of the book and the mushrikeen, they will soon say, Sufaha. Sufaha are the people who do not know their loss or their what's good or bad for them. These are Sufaha. Yeah? Sufaha means those people who don't know what's good or bad for them. You know, some like the children who don't know what's good or bad, they will just, if you put in front of them sweets, they will keep eating sweets non-stop. Because they don't know what's good or bad for them. Sufaha. Yeah? They don't know the consequence of the action, whether it's good or bad. So Allah Ta'ala is referring to these people, the people who are going to, they haven't done it yet. So Allah is already preparing the Prophet ﷺ that these people are about to very soon, as soon as we change the Qibla from Jerusalem back to Makkah, Ka'batullah, they will say, what has turned them away from this? They will cause a big hoo-ha. And The hoo-ha was that, oh look, one, they said that these people, they keep changing their mind, there is no stability in them. Yeah? And the other is, look at you, oh my God, you got it wrong, didn't you? How could you make such a big blunder that you were praying in the wrong direction for 16, 17 months? So as to say, what a waste of time. You've been praying for all this time and all of it was absolutely in the wrong direction. What a shame. So you see that? So they are trying to lower the morale of the believers, okay? Psychologically and spiritually. So Allah Ta'ala is saying that the Qibla, and we mentioned this, I'm just summarizing it last time, that the Qibla is the form of the worship, the direction, the spirit is your obedience to Allah. So Allah Ta'ala, He is not limited to any direction. The spirit of worship is obedience. When Allah says face east, you face the east. When He says face west, you face the west. What counts is not the direction per se. What counts is, did you follow Allah's command that face this direction or that direction? And this will be further elaborated in this surah in ayah 177. Yeah? So the form and the spirit are both important. The is given in ayah 177 beautifully to tell us what is the essence of your real worship of Allah. So just to recap, now in this context of the Qibla being changed, and the Qibla being changed is a very clear symbol, is a very clear sign, symbol that this ummah, previous ummah, is now no longer given our blessing, if you like, an'amta alayhim. They have lost their responsibility and status. Faddaltukum alameen alal alameen. Allah, He gave them this high status. You have now been removed because of your wrongdoing. The new Qibla is now changing to the new ummah. Yes? To show that this is the right way. The way of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Millata Ibrahim Hanifa. Wa ma kana min al-mushrikeen. So follow this way. You see this, yeah? Very obvious in your face that Qibla has changed, meaning that this is the direction. This is the way you need to walk now. This is the direction you take in life. The way of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is the way of Ibrahim alayhi salam, which is the way of Allah. So in this context and backdrop, now let's look at this ayah 143. Now this ayah 143, it is the middle ayah of this surah, right in the middle. And in this surah, it talks about the Muslims, this ummah being the middle nation, median nation, balanced nation. Yeah? So we will look at that now. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. And just as we made you, before you, Bani Israel, the ummah, we are now making you. وَكَذَلِكَ. Yeah? وَكَذَلِكَ. وَكَذَلِكَ means just like what we have been saying, we have done this. You see that continuity, yeah, of the subject. So one continuity of the subject is look at the whole surah before this ayah and link it. You following me, yeah? And the other continuity is look at the previous ayah and link it with this ayah. Okay? So if we link this ayah now, that Allah, He is making you the ummah, which is the balanced nation. If we link that with the previous section of the surah, it means look at Bani Israel. Okay? They were not the balanced ummah because they went to extremes, either right or left. So, but now we are making you the middle nation, balanced. And the other is, if we just link this ayah with the previous one about the changing of the Qibla, this means that like this. So, وَكَذَلِكَ means, as we have now changed the Qibla, this is now the very clear symbol that we have now made you the Ummah. Is it clear? Yes? If you learn these things I'm telling you, then inshallah you would be very, very effective in studying Qur'an. Qur'an is not just to read and not know what you read. Yeah? You can't be like that. Yahmilu asfara. People, like Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Jumu'ah, that the people who carry the books like the donkeys carry the books, they don't know what's in the books. So وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. And we have now made you, given you the responsibility of being ummatan wasatan. Now we have to focus on this word wasat. Wasat. Very important to understand this wasat. Wasatan means wasat. You have the two sides and you have the balance, absolute balance. Yes, middle is wasat. This is wasat, right in the middle, center. Just perfect balance, wasat. It means it is equidistant from both extremes. Equidistant, right distant. Equidistant from both extremes. Meaning it is in the dead center of everything. It is the perfect balance. Wasat. It also means the best. Because the best thing is the best balanced thing, isn't it? See, the balanced diet. Yeah? The best diet, balanced diet. Balance in your body between everything. This makes you the healthiest person. Yeah? Balance in your time management makes you the most effective. So it is the best. Khairul umur. And wasat also means the best of things. Afzal al-ashya. Afdalul ashya. You are not writing this. Afdalul ashya. It means awsat. Awsat means the best balance. Khairul umur, the best affair. And it means Afdalul ashya, the best thing. Wasat. Yeah. Now, wasat means here that the Muslim Ummah now, because Allah, He is guiding us to what? What is He guiding us to? We asked for in Fatiha. What is the guidance called in Arabic? Sirat al-Mustaqim. As-Sirat al-Mustaqim. As-Sirat al-Mustaqim is this path. You see this? As-Sirat al-Mustaqim. As-Sirat al-Mustaqim. In everything in life, the balance is Sirat al-Mustaqim. Yes? Yes? If we follow this, then we are ummatan wasatan. Ummatan wasatan. If we follow Allah's guidance, then we are ummatan wasatan, balanced. There's no extremism. Yes, there is no too much to the right or too much to the left. There is, so let's now take the meaning of wasat here. Wasat here means Do not, there is a form and there is spirit, yeah? Form and spirit. Do not overemphasize the form and do not overemphasize the spirit. Do not underemphasize the form, do not underemphasize the spirit. The form has importance, the spirit has importance. The Kaaba, the Qibla is important, as well as the whole motivation and intention behind your worship is important, the spirit. Both are important. Do not overemphasize either or underemphasize either of them. Awsat. Then you see that balance in terms of belief. Belief, yeah? Belief in balance. Belief. So some people have brought Allah Ta'ala down to the level of creation. Yes? Is one extreme. So they say, Uzairun ibnullah. Uzair is the son of Allah. So they are either bringing the Prophet Uzair up to Allah's level, or they are bringing Allah Ta'ala down to Uzair's level. Extremism, yeah? Both extremes. Isa ibnullah. Yeah? They're saying Jesus is son of God. So this extremism, that either they're saying Allah has come down to the level of a man, or the man has reached the level of God. You see this? This is not wasat. It is not balanced. The balance is they are messengers and prophets and servants of Allah. Allah, He is Allah, and they are messengers and prophets to be followed. This is ummatan wasat. In belief, the belief is balanced belief. Is it clear? Belief is balanced belief in Allah. Okay. And then there is balance in the worship. Second aspect of balance. You should make a note of these things. Yes, worship. The balance between worship and your actions. Okay. So you do not go to extremes in your worship, meaning do not become monks, rahbaniya. Yes, you think it's good and it's godly to forsake the dunya completely, abandon the dunya and become monks and nuns, and not to be married, not to live in society, not to have children, not to have wealth, not to have any enjoyment. Yes? So all of these things, they are extremes in worship. You get it? Is it making sense? So the middle path, the balanced way, ummatan wasatan, sirat al-mustaqim, is you would be married, as the Prophet ﷺ said, yes, that I am married and I have children and I sleep part of the night, I worship part of the night, I fast some days, I don't fast other days, and this is my sunnah, and this is the best, and whoever turns away from my sunnah is not from me. So balance, ummatan wasatan, in worship. And then in our social matters, social life. Yeah? So the rights, social rights, people love to talk about rights nowadays, which is good. So what are the rights of who? Where is the middle way? Where is the balanced way of social rights? Who has what right? So this Sirat al-Mustaqim will tell us, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, etc., etc. وَذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينَ وَابْنَ السَّبِيلِ وَالصَّائِلِ, etc. The rights of Allah first, and then the rights of creation, and in priority order. Yes? Priority in the human rights, the priority is the parents. Priority. Today's so-called civilized world, they give the dogs more rights than the parents. True or not? Or am I exaggerating? Yes, they give their dogs more right because they keep the dog with them in their house. And they get rid of their parents. Who has more rights? The dog has more rights. You see? So there are shops, pet shops, big chain stores, pets at home. There's no shop, no pet, no store for parents. I'm not saying they should be, I'm just making a point. That this is extremism. So there is then women's rights, men's rights. So people love to make a hoo-ha about all this. So what happened is that when people, they didn't follow, you have to understand this, you youngsters, yeah? So these are your challenges. This is what you will be challenged with psychologically. You have to be very strong and clear. So what happened is that when we didn't, as a human race, we didn't give people their rights, there is obviously going to be a retaliation to demand the rights. So when women were not treated as even human, they were buried alive in the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam by the Arabs. Yes? So Qur'an condemns this practice. They buried the girls alive. And then they would keep them as just property. And then even in these countries we live in, we think they're so civilized. Just if you go back not very far, 100 years or so back, the women had no rights to vote. There used to be, even now, the people, they think women are the root of all evil, Eve. This is entrenched in people's psychology. Yes, they don't say it openly anymore because they have brought the laws that you can't say it, but everybody knows inside people, they think this. So there's a real equal rights for women and equal pay. Yes? So when they were not given their rights, so they had to retaliate. But they didn't, all of these movements to get the rights, like suffragettes and all of this feminism, they came from one extreme, they passed the wasat, they went to the other extreme. Yes? So they are trying to give women those rights that are not right for them. You see that? And men are being given rights that are not right for them. So they are, without saying it, they're saying as if you have to become a man to become somebody, otherwise you are nothing. And the man has to become like the woman, otherwise he's nothing. So this big mess up. So what is the wasat, ummatan wasat, what is the balance? Allah Ta'ala tells us what is the balance. Yes? Allah Ta'ala tells us. Otherwise we are in complete confusion because the social trends and the social so-called norms, they keep shifting. Every year, every 2 years, shift. And you feel out of date, confused. So I thought that was right. No, but now this is right. No, but now this is right. No, now that is wrong. So political correctness gone crazy. So this causes absolute confusion and instability to any civilization. And then this civilization, it crumbles because it loses self-identity, self-purpose, and the balance. Ummatan wasatan. And then there are the balance in economic balance. Economic and the balance in terms of wealth, capital and labor, capital and labor. So there are two extremisms in the economic theory. One is capitalism. One extreme is capitalism. Capitalism says that capitalism is the maximization of wealth. This is capitalism. Capital means the initial money and assets you own, and your whole objective is your life objective, because capitalism is a way of life, is maximize your assets, increase them, keep increasing, that's it. Maximization of wealth at any cost. So we have seen the emergence of these international companies, yes, and they are huge monopolies and conglomerates and whatever you call it. And now they exploit the cheapest labor in the world. They find the cheapest labor. Cambodia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Vietnam, yeah. And you see you go to Primark, made in Bangladesh, made in Cambodia, made in Vietnam. So these companies, they're capitalists. Their all objective is maximization of wealth, and at the cost of what? These poor people who are working day and night for just maybe $1 or $2, exploited completely. And then they are absolute criminals, these big companies. They say, oh, we have a, what is it called? Fair trade policy. Fair trade policy. Exploitation. This is extremism. The balance between capital and labor, where does it lie? Yes? The other extremism is that there is no such thing as ownership. Nobody owns anything. State owns everything. This is socialism. Socialism, yeah? Marxism. Other extreme. So Russia suffered this, USSR suffered this consequence of socialism, Soviet Union. Yeah? Where the people, they had everything should be the same, everything should be equal, everybody should have identical house, identical clothes, even the clothing was the same. They tried to do this, unnatural. And you should have just the same everything, identical. Imagine that, equality. Are you understanding this? It seems like a good concept, doesn't it? Equality, everybody should be the same. So look outside your street. If you look outside now, so if it's equality, then everybody's house should be identical. And the cars should be the same, just the same car, everybody. And you should all wear the same clothes, eat the same food, so you're equal. This other extreme, equality. Eh? And their main problem is capitalism and socialism is because their underlying philosophy is maximize your world in the life in this world. This is the underlying problem. Yeah? The underlying problem is, the premise is you have to establish your life to be the best possible life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Instinctively, this is good instinct Allah has given us. But how do we find the balance? This is given by Allah. Ummatan wasatan. So Allah Ta'ala is saying, Ummatan wasatan, I hope it's clear, inshallah, yeah? That you have to become Ummatan wasatan in all these aspects of life. Is it clear? Why you have to become this balanced people? لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. Because you have to be the witnesses upon mankind on the day of judgment. So if you read Tafseer of this, you will find the hadith given that on the day of judgment, Allah Ta'ala, He will ask the nations, starting from the nation of Nuh alayhi salam, that did your messenger convey his message to you? Yes? You have to listen to this because this is new. I haven't mentioned this before. And some of the nations, they will deny the messenger's message. They would say, no, he didn't give us any message. Yeah? So then the messenger would be asked, do you have any witness to support your claim that you conveyed the message? You have to follow what I'm saying, yeah? Because I haven't said this before, so listen carefully. So then Allah Ta'ala will bring the ummah of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to bear witness that yes, Nuh alayhi salam conveyed his message to his people. The people of Nuh alayhi salam would say, how do you know? You weren't even there. Yes, so I'm going to ask you a question now. So they're going to say, who are you to bear witness? You weren't there when we were alive. You came later. So what is the Muslim Ummah going to say in defense? What gives them the right to say you have conveyed the message, Nuh alayhi salam? Huh? Where Allah said? In the Qur'an, exactly. They will say, we believe in Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what he brought, the Qur'an, and the Qur'an said that Nuh alayhi salam, he has conveyed the message. So we bear witness. You see this, shuhada ala nas. This is one meaning, shuhada ala nas. But of course, this ummah, that itself will be the witnesses for other prophets and messengers, it will be asked, were you given the message as well? And then Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would say, yes. Okay? But now there's a difference. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he is Khatam al-Nabiyyin, he's the final prophet, seal of the prophets. La Nabiyya ba'di, said the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there is no prophet after me. And the messenger, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he passed away. Innaka mayyitun wa innahum mayyitun. But his prophethood and his messengerhood, rather his messengerhood, his risala, it is unlike the previous messengers. The previous messengers' risala and message was for those people for that time and place. That's it. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he is messenger for all mankind. Kafatan linnas bashiran wa nadhira. He is the only messenger who is the messenger for all mankind until the last day of judgment. And the last day. Yeah? But he is, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, passed away. Allah Ta'ala caused him to pass away. So the question should arise then, how will his message reach the people? Yes? And the simple answer, as you know, is his message he has conveyed to his ummah to convey it now on his behalf. So on the Day of Judgment, the Muslim Ummah would be asked, did you convey the message of Rasulullah after you have received it? Did you convey it to the rest of the people? And then if the people say no, then you can stand up and say, no, we did convey the message. But if the people say no and you haven't, then you are guilty of not conveying the message. So Shahada al-Nas is the objective and vision and mission of this Ummah. Allah has made you the Ummatan Wasatan, balanced nation in every aspect of life. You attain this balance and you call to this balance. You become an example of this balance. And then people, you invite them to this. This is Shahadat al-Nas. That you can say on the Day of Judgment, we have tried our best to convey this balance to people, to bring them to balance. Yes? And the messenger, he would be a witness on the day, either for or against his ummah who would convey the message, he is with them. Those who didn't, then he has a complaint against them. وَمَا جَعَلْنَا الْقِبْلَةَ الَّتِي كُنْتَ عَلَيْهَا إِلَّا لِنَعْلَمَ مَنْ يَتَّبِعُ الرَّسُولَ مِمَّنْ يَنْقَلِبُ عَلَى عَقِبَيْهِ. And now Allah Ta'ala is again emphasizing now the Qibla. Yes? That we made this Qibla that you were on, kunta alayha, meaning the Qibla that you were on, which were the Prophet was on before? Jerusalem. We made this not except to see as a test who would follow the messenger and who would reject to follow the messenger. Now there's a point here, subtle point. وَمَا جَعَلْنَا الْقِبْلَةَ الَّتِي كُنْتَ عَلَيْهَا. I mentioned it before, I think. There is nowhere in the Qur'an that mentions that Allah Ta'ala said to the Prophet ﷺ, pray towards Jerusalem. Nowhere in the Qur'an. Is it clear? Yes? So the question arises, how did the Prophet ﷺ know that he should pray towards Jerusalem? Because Allah Ta'ala is saying, you were on. We made this for you, meaning we told you to. But it's not in the Quran. So what does it tell us? How does the Prophet ﷺ know this? Eh? Yes, but how did he know before this ayah that you should turn towards Jerusalem? Instinct, no. Wahi, very good. Wahi, revelation. There are two types of revelation. There is Wahi Jali, which is the Quran. It is also called Wahi Matlu. Matlu, meaning the recitation, the recited Wahi, Quran. And then there is Wahi Khafi, hidden Wahi, which is not in the Quran. It is Ghair Matlu. It is not recited in prayer. This is what Allah Ta'ala, he says to the Prophet ﷺ. But he doesn't, but this is not part of Quran. You see that? And the Prophet ﷺ said that I have been given Quran and the like of it. Meaning the Sunnah of Rasulullah ﷺ, Allah, he has guided him to. So for us, our guidance is in Quran and in what the Prophet ﷺ said. So now Allah Ta'ala is saying, we made this a test to see who will follow the messenger and who will not. So the essence of worship is obedience to Allah and the messenger, not the what direction you're in. The matter is obey Allah and the messenger. وَإِنْ كَانَتْ لَكَبِيرَةً إِلَّا عَلَى الَّذِينَ هَدَى اللَّهِ. And this was very difficult. This was a difficult challenge for people to change their qibla. For people who are used to it, number one, and difficult for people who thought, as I mentioned, some Sahaba, they thought, oh, all our salahs, they're wasted now. Yeah? But Allah, he says, Allah, he guided them. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. And Allah, he will not waste your iman. Iman. Iman here means salawat, prayers. Tafseer says that imanukum means your prayers. Allah will not waste or let your prayers go to waste, that you prayed for 16 or 17 months facing Jerusalem. So imanakum, we understand the meaning by tafsir. Okay? Imanakum. Inna Allah bin nasi la ra'ufur rahim, and indeed Allah, He is very kind and merciful to His creation, His mankind. And the hadith in the I think Ibn Kathir mentions that the Prophet ﷺ, he said to the Sahaba, do you think that a Prophet gave the example of a mother, and the Prophet asked, can you imagine that this mother would throw her child into the fire? Yeah. So they said, of course not, Ya Rasulullah. So the Prophet said, Allah Ta'ala, He is more beloved, meaning He loves you more than your mother. He's Ra'ufur Rahim. He's so kind and merciful to you. So follow His guidance. This is what this is saying. And then we take this next ayah. قَدْ نَرَى تَقَلُّبَ وَجْهِكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ. And we were witnessing, we were seeing you. You kept looking up into the sky. Or Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this is showing the very close relationship between Allah and the Messenger. Yes, how Allah Ta'ala, He loved Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. فَلَنُوَلِّيَنَّكَ قِبْلَةً تَرْضَاهَا. And definitely we will change the Qibla to the Qibla you love, which is the Qibla of Ibrahim Salam, which is the initial Qibla, Baytullah, Makkah. So the Prophet ﷺ, he used to look up to the sky, yes, waiting for the wahi, that, oh Allah, when the Qibla will go back to its normal. Yes, because he knew this is the right Qibla. So Allah Ta'ala told him. Yes, and he knew that he has to wait for the wahi before he says. So this tells us, وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيُ يُوحَىٰ. Prophet ﷺ, he would wait for Allah Ta'ala's wahi to then tell people to do this or that. Okay? So we will turn you to the Qibla that you are pleased with. فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. And then you should turn your faces towards the direction of Masjid al-Haram. Masjid al-Haram is, I mentioned last time, of course, the Kaaba, but also it can include all of the Haram, can include all of the area around, and even including the Arafat, Mina, etc. وَحَيْثُ مَا كُنْتُمْ. And wherever you are, فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرًا. Then wherever you are, meaning if you are outside of Makkah, you are in Medina, wherever you face Masjid al-Haram, وَإِنَّ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ لَيَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. And indeed, the people of the book, they know that this Qibla is the true Qibla from the Lord. They know that. But they have changed. Allah Ta'ala initially, He made Friday the day of worship for Allah, for all ummahs, for the Jews, the Christians. The Jews, they said, no, we want Sabbath. So Allah Ta'ala said, have the Sabbath. Christians said, no, we need Sunday. We want Sunday. We don't want Friday. We want Sunday. Allah Ta'ala said, you take it. You see? But the day that Allah, He has designated, in which وَإِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمْعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. Or Allah has designated the time is of Friday when He says, come to my worship, hasten towards my remembrance collectively so that you remember me and leave everything. Nothing else is more important than you remembering me at this time. So it was always Friday. People changed it. Yes, but Allah Ta'ala Ra'ufur Rahim, He has not punished these people. Even today, He lets them have their Saturday service, Sunday service. But they know this. Yes. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ أَمَّا يَعْمَلُونَ. And don't worry, Allah is not unaware. You see this again, وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ. Allah is not unaware of what they are doing. Allah, He will call them to account why they changed. What Allah Ta'ala ordained, you changed. And you said that we are progressive in our religious understanding of everything. So you change the whole religion upside down, 180 degrees, and you make haram halal, halal haram, and you become something that is not even the religion anymore. And you say, we are all doing it in the name of God. No, this is not in the name of God. So we'll finish there for today.